I wanted to talk about business and life and how they work together. They're largely about viewpoint and what you do with it, both of them. I hear a lot of people talk about balance, separating work and their personal life. Anybody who's really doing anything, it's so intermixed. I work with my daughter. I work with like 5 family members. The team that's been with me, I've been in 5 of their weddings as the maid of honor. So I blur the lines, and I do it because my work is my life. My life then I bring into my work. I had coffee with my husband this morning. I was telling him what I was going to talk about, and he said, "That's not going to help anyone." And I was like, "Well, what are you talking about? I have the PowerPoint ready. This is what I'm saying." And he said, "Yeah, that's not going to help anyone." And he's like, the end of somebody's story isn't what helps people. You standing up after you've overcame everything, and that's not what helps people. I understood what he meant. What I want to share with you guys this morning isn't something I really usually talk about, because I think that it is part and parcel for how my team and I have gotten to where we are and what we're looking to help you guys with. Many years ago, I didn't realize I was going to have to talk about my age. I found myself at 23 years old, getting divorced from my high school sweetheart with a 2-year-old baby, about $150 in my bank account, walking out of the apartment I was living in with a bag of clothes and the keys to my car, which I still had a payment on that I couldn't afford, and nowhere to go. And I'd just gotten fired by one of my closest friends from the job I had. That's where I found myself in life. I had to borrow money to get an apartment in the ghetto. I remember one night sitting there with my daughter in bed, hearing gunshots out our window. And how many of you guys have found yourself at a place like this? It's dark, it's scary. You could fold up at that moment very easily. You can let those times, really impact you to become a victim of circumstance and the woe is me moment. So thankfully, I had great parents and a great upbringing, and the misery I had brought on in this moment in my life was of my own doing, not of theirs. And I had always been told by my mom that I would succeed and I could overcome anything. And all I needed, I had within myself, right? It was a mantra that she gave us as girls throughout our whole life. I decided that at that moment, while things were their worst, I might as well embrace it. I didn't have much, so I didn't have much to lose. And the good thing about when you're at the bottom is there's really not too much farther you can go. It's all up from there, so you might as well risk it at that moment. So I decided not to go get another job. I decided that I would do whatever was needed to start working for myself. Started working in marketing. I started taking on jobs, doing field surveys, like walking up to people going, "Hey, can I ask you a couple questions?" Right? Those people, doing over 1,000 phone surveys. I don't know how much, if you guys know about that, but you got to call a lot of people to do 1,000 phone surveys, probably about 10,000 people. And I started doing jobs that you would not want to do. And I would work all day, and then I would go cocktail at night so I could actually make money to pay bills. And then my boyfriend at the time, now husband, 20 years later, had a video company. So I said, "Teach me how to film. If you need an extra shooter, I need some money." And I'd run around with a camera and film weddings and run around in Palm Springs in 100 degrees, dressed in all black, filming people at their weddings so I could make a few $100s so I could do the work that didn't pay me during the week. I tell you guys this because I always think the end of someone's story is easy to say, "Oh, look at what they did. Seems easy," or like they came by it easy. But I think it's important to understand that at the moments when you want to change, or the moments that seem low, your viewpoint and what you do with it in those moments and the risks you're willing to take and how uncomfortable you're willing to get will determine where you end from that point. I could have very easily become, a 9-to-5 cubicle worker to pay the bills. And I just realized that the life I had, I got myself in, and the place I was in, I got myself in. And so if I wanted to have something different, I better make some major changes, and that wasn't going to come without laying it all on the line. I start off with this because you guys are here because you likely want to do something different or better or reach another level. And in order to do that, like Phil said, you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone. And in doing so, sometimes you're going to maybe hear something, talk to someone else, or encounter something that you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know if I like how they do that. I don't know. And sometimes the walls come up because it is uncomfortable. And so one of the things I'd like to challenge you guys on is that you can freely hear all the viewpoints and then decide to challenge yourself as you see it growing you. That gets you to the next place that you want to be and one step closer to your goals.